Det är jag som är Torgerd.
My name is Torgerd. I live here in Uppsala and have done my whole life. My family is very powerful. My ancestors lie buried in the large mounds here. I am an old woman who has lived a long life, but I will soon be setting out on a journey to the realm of the dead. I feel tired and weak. I know that my final journey will befit my status. I will be buried alongside my ancestors in a beautiful boat. A number of my male relatives are already buried here. They too were buried in boats. The boats are long and sleek and carved from large wooden logs. It is this type of boat that we use to travel along nearby rivers and lakes. In death, my male relatives are dressed in their finest clothes, woven with silk and decorated with braids of silk and gold. In death, I will wear a garment of silk fabric that comes from far, far away and has been brought here by a trader. My jewelry will comprise countless strings of beautiful glass beads as well as silver coins from faraway lands. The most precious item of all is my pendant of a Valkyrie who leads the dead to Valhalla, the great hall of Odin. I also want to take to the realm of the dead my large dog, which has served me so faithfully for many years. Perhaps other animals will accompany on my journey. My everyday wear comprises this blue linen dress and my shawl. Not everyone in the village has such fine clothes, as dyeing fabrics blue and red is difficult. Before I'm buried, I will be laid out in the boat and people will come to pay their respects and admire my lovely grave clothes and jewelry. Now I must go to the place I've spoken of, behind the mounds, where it is peaceful and quiet.
That was the story of Torgerd and the life she might have once led. We know that more than 1,000 years ago, a woman was buried near the royal manor here in Gamla Uppsala. She was laid to rest in splendid clothing in a slender boat about 5 meters long. The woman's costume featured 11 different types of fabric, including silk. At that time, silk was as valuable as gold. Just now we saw Torgerd wearing what is possibly her everyday clothing, a blue linen dress and a woolen shawl. Here we see Torgerd in her grave clothes. She wears a shift beneath an overdress with a train. Open at the front, it's held together across her chest by large clasps and a string of beads. Research is ongoing into what a Viking woman's festive dress and grave clothes might have looked like. Would she have worn a cloak? What purpose did the clasps serve, and how were they positioned on dresses? What objects did women carry on the chains worn over the dress? And leading on from that, what role was played by Viking women in society? As researchers cannot as yet agree on the answers, we have chosen to combine some of the latest research findings, represented by this costume with this overgarment and train, with the established image of a Viking woman's clothing, which you can see in the exhibition at Gamla Uppsala Museum. The artifacts provided by these items of clothing are only found in high-status burials. Silk and coins from the Viking Age graves in Gamla Uppsala indicate the contact had been established with the Orient and the Silk Roads. Bead artifacts from excavations in Gamla Uppsala during 2012 and 2013 also indicate trade with faraway lands. We do not know as much about the dress and jewelry worn by normal Viking Age women. During the late Iron Age, approximately 500 to 1050 AD, there was a rich and well-developed society surrounding the royal mounds of Uppsala. People gathered here to worship their gods at the site of a royal estate. Upland had favourable conditions in the form of good communications, good pastures, and fertile farming land. 3 great royal mounds from the late 500s and the 600s AD are among the largest burial monuments in Sweden. Over the centuries, the tombs have been subjected to grave robbery and more or less official excavations. We know that the tombs are cremation pits and that they contain only remains of the rich grave goods due to the heat of the fire. 2 of the tombs were dug up in the 1800s, and the discoveries, which included helmet fragments and fine gold objects, revealed that the people buried here had a very high status. Our knowledge of the Old Norse religion comes primarily from Icelandic literature, and they're mostly from the Prose Edda of Snorri Sturluson. Archbishop Adam of Bremen also wrote about what happened during the blood sacrifices, a large event that took place in the sacrificial groves north of the burial mounds, and what happened during the change of religion in central Sweden in the 10th and 1100s. The true centre of power of the time was likely the royal estate, situated on two partly man-made terraces, roughly north of the church that now stands there. The royal estate, which was surveyed by archaeologists, has been dated to approximately 600 to 800 AD. It was an impressive 50-metre-long manor house with sturdy walls. This may well have been the king's residence.